Good evening, good morning, hello wherever you are. We're really sorry we had some technical difficulties literally just about as we were about to go online, and I've just dropped the card I need to use to help you. So if you lose the signal with us, please do go to www.ustreamtv/channel/the Foundry. That's the with a hyphen, Foundry, another hyphen, live. Here, I'm holding it up for you.
Just tell them we'll tweet it.
We'll tweet it as well. So, great start to this session. We're really excited. We're actually, this is one session that we've been really excited to do. It's Modo in VFX. We've got some incredible guest speakers with us tonight. We've got Tommy from Niceberg, and we've got Robin from Double Negative as well. Really, really cool stuff. We want you to interact with us tonight as well. Please use the hashtag TF Sessions. Tonight's compares are the wonderful Gregory, our Modo product manager, and of course, Mr. Pleck again, Matt Pleck. So we will be taking questions at the end, but just keep telling us where you are, what you're up to, what you're thinking, what you love about Modo, what you're loving about what the guys are talking about as well. We are going to jump straight in now to Tommy from Niceberg. So I'm going to hand it over to you boys. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
We're on.
Yes.
Off and rolling. So Tommy, you guys tell us a little bit about Niceberg to kind of kick us off.
So yes, we make ride movies. It's ride movies and attractions for simulators that you see in like amusement parks. We started 3 years ago, and working 2 years now with Modo and Foundry products, and we made 5 ride movies. So
okay. You want to give us a look?
Yeah, we will show the wheel.
Yeah.
Does it go?
There it goes.
Yep, it's live.
So that was, I mean, that's quite a lot of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you like the end-to-end. You guys are doing, you know, the animation, texture paint, everything.
Yeah. So
and it's like short. Well, we saw short clips, but like what are the ride films actually like?
Each ride movie is like from 5 minutes to maximum 10 minutes, delivered in 2K with within 6 months, with a team of 6 or 7 artists. Maximum 7 artists. So it's a lot of pressure because of the duration, and it's stereo. So it's if we have 10,000 frames, it's 20,000 frames. So long render times, and that's why we have to keep the render times under 45 minutes for like a 2K frame per eye.
Per eye. Yeah.
Per eye. So if it would be for 2 eyes, it would be difficult. But with Modo, it works, and most of the time we get it done in under 45 minutes.
Yeah. What what would be kind of a typical? You got, I think you've got an example.
Yeah, this is
of what kind of.
Like this is an example. This is straight out of Modo. And if you can see it, it's like 9 minutes, 52 seconds for a single eye, the whole environment, 2K, and it's 93 billion polygons, so it's a big scene.
So is that pretty typical of the kind of scene that you get, or do you get higher than that?
Yes, because most of the times you are going forward with the camera in the right movie, because it's like a roller coaster. The scenes are big, and we always have the problem where to cut and where to make transitions.
Right.
And so most of the times it's like...
So there is no cheating, you have to have all
No.
the
You can't do the 2D for half of it.
No, most of the time no. Always full 3D assets.
And I guess in order for it to be a good ride, it has to feel like it's going fast, which means you're
fast,
covering a lot of territory.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What about the textures? Do you have to have really high textures to do that?
Most of the textures are 4K or 8K. So for the main objects it's 8K textures, for the other objects it's 4K.
Yeah, I guess you're distant from camera is more like distant this way, because
but the problem
this
is
way you're
if
going to be
it's-
close pretty soon.
Yeah, if it's distant and it makes a turn, then you close again. So there's always, we have to take good care of that, and always make a good previs to see those kind of things.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
This is the point of getting camera forward. I have some examples of this. Here you can look at. So here you see the scenery.
bike.
Yeah, the scenery is like until the sea. So it's a big scene. It's split in different scenes. So we have to render from that point on everything.
Yeah. And you're using global illumination, right?
Yes.
On that scene, right?
Yes, global illumination for everything.
So that means that the rays go all over the place all the time,
Yes.
and all the geometry is visible.
Yes.
Pretty much. So there is no cheating.
No cheating there either. No place to hide.
No, but that's a beautiful thing. You can, with the shaders in Modo, you can adjust it to say, okay, this is not that important. The shader rate can be different than another part.
And that's per material or like per object?
Sometimes per material, sometimes per object. It depends on the
you
scene.
can do both.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Then I have another example of this. Here you can see like the.
Is it going? Oh, go back.
So you have to click.
Yeah, one click should run it. Yep, there we go.
So here you can see like everything is, all the scenes are visible in some points of another scene. So the camera has to be fixed and has to be good.
Right, has to work in all situations.
Yeah.
And so you use all the shading effects that you want. I mean, I'm seeing some blurry reflections.
Yes,
there.
the track is blurry reflections.
Yeah. So global illumination, subsurface scattering.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything.
You don't
Just turn it all on.
You don't
turn it all on,
yourself
and if we see like the 45 minutes, we cannot make 45 minutes. Then we drop it.
Yeah. Oh, so I guess that's true, right? Just turn it all on, and because that would be the best, and then do what you have to do to kind of tune down if you need to. But but maybe you make it, huh?
That's the thing. So it's more like, okay, we look what we can do in 45 minutes, and then drop it if it's overkill.
Right. So yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the process? Yeah. How do you
This is
do
our
this stuff?
pipeline.
Right. Okay.
So you can see it's like 6 or 7 people, the team.
Yeah.
And it's divided with modeling, texturing, environment development, render setup, render and compositing, and then you have the animation and animatic, and the rigging and animation.
Sure.
And there's like a little yellow guy on there on almost all of those. Is that
Almost all of those. That's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
But it's a team effort.
Yeah.
So everybody's important. Like the animation team does the animation, and it has to be like they have to do a lot of animation, so they cannot help with other stuff.
Yeah, and I mean this is running in parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We use MDDs to go quicker from modeling and rigging, animation, so it can run parallel, and we work together.
Yeah, so you got the modeling, texture painting going on while they're animating.
Yes,
and
because the animators most of the time don't need the texturing. So why would we wait on it? So
and how much time do you spend on modeling versus the other task?
Like if you see like a real environment build,
right.
will be like 3 weeks for an environment, and then animation depends on the quantity of animation, and then 1 week for preparing the render settings and setting up like a pre-comp, do a quick comp, and then it goes to the render farm.
Do you build it like kind of build it all out roughly first?
Yeah,
and
that's done
then
in
get
the
a sense of what
animatic.
the flow is going to be, and then
We do that in the
refine what you do.
animatic, and we do the like rough camera animation that we know.
That's right, because you're doing the animatics and the previews in Modo too, so you can just take that scene and continue on. It's not like kind of the big film production type things where it's a totally different company and everybody starts all over again.
Everything stays in Modo most of the time.
And for the lighting and texturing, do you use the preview to make your decisions? Or
Almost all the time, yes.
So it's always on?
Yeah, it's always on.
Even during the modeling stage?
I think so, yeah, the models use it too. And from the moment that we use are doing texturing, or then the preview goes on and it stays on.
Yeah, cool. So then we could tell us a little bit about how you're getting how are you moving all the data around?
So we use Lightwave with turbulence for effects. We export Olympic files in MDDs, works, no problem. Modo is simple. This one I said it's the Matt Cox plugin for the MDDs for exporting, and this is representative of the animation. So animation is Modo because it's Modo.
Right. Well, I guess it's just different. Like maybe different people. Somebody did the modeling and somebody's doing the animation.
So it's easy. Like if I'm working and preparing the scene for rendering, and the animation is not yet done, I can begin rendering, make a second pass.
So it's just a convenient way to bake the deformation and hand it to someone else. I see. Without really changing the scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So it's like a deformer. Just update the part, and it's done. It even does that automatic. So. Modo Nuke is a Olympic file just for the camera, so we don't render skies in Modo. We use them for global illumination, but we don't render them out. We do that in Nuke, Olympic file export, put it in Nuke, no problem, works like a charm. Then we go Modo Mari.
That's the texture paint, back and forth.
Back and forth, OBJ and TIFF. And TIFF and EXR export from Mari back to Modo.
All right. Yeah, and then now with now Mari's got Alembic, so you could even just do Alembic.
This is the previous version.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Next step, huh?
Mari workflow, I can really go fast with this one because it's simple. You bake your geometry or freeze your model. You export it OBJ, go to Mari, do some magic, diffuse map, bump map, and import the images and back to Modo, and voila. It's a simple workflow, but it works. So,
cool.
And then this is like for characters, and a Modo for the scenery. We do a lot of replicator workflow, so we use replicators all the time. It's one of the biggest things to do environments.
Okay, yeah, to handle all that scale.
Yeah,
right. Because who has time? not in 6 months with 6 guys.
No, we don't have time for that. So most of the things we do is like, this is an example, but most of the scenes are built this way. You make a plane, you take the sculpt tools in Modo are great, and even for this simple thing, you just paint like a landscape on it, really simple. Then here you can choose like make a black-white image paint. Also Modo.
That's for the density of
the density,
particles,
yes.
Right? So that's controlling the placement of trees in that case.
So you have control over that. Simple with a black and white map. Then choose your trees. This is from the Xfolk library. I also use stuff from the S library in Modo. But you can go to the website. They have a lot of good stuff online, free for you to use, and it's a great place to go.
And that's just off the community,
Foundry
Foundry community.
Right. So
sharing
for
stuff,
non-Modo users, it just means that you can go to the website, select the asset, download it, and then it's installed very easily into the Modo asset library, which is a very convenient way to get stuff into
get started with things.
Right.
So you don't have to model every single thing from scratch or go buy a bunch of like very kind of basic.
And you learn a lot of stuff
cool.
from Modo. with the presets.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It's
you
also
mentioned
a
that
good way
earlier.
to
Yeah, so
know
some of them
things,
are
yeah.
actually pretty complex. And the
Yeah,
shaders
some
and
of them
everything.
are,
It's
yeah.
not just a model or something.
No. It's not just like importing images. It's a complex workflow.
So is that an assembly?
like actually this asset that we can see here.
Yeah, it's a fir tree.
It's actually a very interesting one. It's a fir tree. So it's just the trunk essentially with the branches, and then fir is used to make all the leaves and you know the stuff that would be really heavy on a tree model.
Right. So you wouldn't want geometry.
Exactly.
Yeah, the fir doesn't render. Yeah. Okay.
That I used some just poly models and some of the fir trees.
But that comes as, is that an assembly? Is that the right, or is that
no,
that comes as a?
It's just an asset.
Just an asset.
Yeah, it's essentially an item with some shaders.
Okay, but it all comes together, so you don't have to rehook everything up yourself.
No.
Yeah, that's
Just works.
Cool.
And this one, so I choose my trees, then I make a group from the different trees. Most of the times it's like 5 or 10 trees to make a good forest. Then we go to create the surface particles. Just a surface particle generator. Then
this is using your map for the
the
density of the
I make
particles.
a material on that surface particle. It comes in on the effects side of Modo. Just plug in the black and white map, set it on particle density, and voila.
And you get
Instant forest.
And you get the forest.
So
in that forest you've got like 10 different prototypes.
10 different prototypes and controlling them with the particle density, but also with the variation shader.
Right.
And you have a lot of things to play with the colors, and then repeat that for other things that you want, and you have a whole forest.
That's cool. So yeah, you mentioned the variation shader, but for people who aren't familiar with Modo, maybe you can say a little bit more about what
so
that
the
does. That's really
variation
cool.
texture shader is a very handy feature that lets you add some variations to shading to particles in the scene. And a particle in that case will be a tree. So you set up a color ramp essentially, and each tree will pick a different color
along
in the ramp.
Yeah.
And so if you want to make the forest in autumn with nice variations between yellows and reds and green, you can just make that ramp and it will happen automatically.
Yeah, and then you had different groups of trees. So if you wanted, like mostly red trees, but only a small amount of yellow ones, you could do 2 groups and set them up differently, and get, very quickly.
Very flexible.
Get a lot of different variations and stuff. Very
you can also do that on non-particles. You can also do that on mesh parts. So if you got one single mesh item and just with different parts in the mesh, it will automatically assign different colors to those different mesh parts. It's a very fast way to texture assets.
Or if you did rivets on something and you wanted a little variation in each one or something. Yeah, cool. That's neat. Cool. So so you get everything rendered.
So
next
we have
up.
like the forest, 9 minutes, 39 billion polygons.
Nice.
Then we go to Nuke, and it's a simple workflow because we don't have a lot of time to do the comp. Render out some passes, and I use the point position pass and the normal pass to do some tricks in Nuke.
Okay.
So this is an overview. You can see it's a really simple comp, nothing special, but it works for us. This is the background, simple.
Just putting the pieces together
Yeah,
now at this
putting the
point.
pieces together, and like this one, this is what I told you about the Olympic file. With the camera. So we take a HDR, put it on a sphere, camera of Modo via the Olympic file, and voila, we have a sky.
Yeah, it's quick scanline render at this point, so
Because otherwise, if we would change the sky, it would be render again. So here I do a little trick with the normal.
Yeah, so this is something like you wouldn't think like deep, using deep in like this kind of fast turnaround thing, but actually you're able to use that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you use the points to position pass in Nuke, and you have the passes for that out of Modo, you can make it deep because scanline outputs a deep image. I use that with a deep holdout with another scanline renderer for fog, and then just render that out, and I have like a deep image. Just put it back in for fog.
Yeah. So then you can control that a bit more. You've actually got volume instead of. Cool.
That's the thing, because with the trees, otherwise you just put it over and
it's much faster to render than real volumetric.
Yes.
Yeah. So that ends up looking pretty cool there. Yeah.
And this one, some extra fork with the good old Z-Slice plugin. And then the foreground elements, really basic, simple comp. And this is the final result. It's a still, so
cool.
Show there. Some moving image no more. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, so you get then the fog is like that thing that kind of sells the scale and the.
You have to think like this was not the animation, but the background, the foreground elements were like a week turnaround for one guy.
Cool. Do you tend to have animated bits in most of the shots, or is that kind of like animation is a bit?
No,
I mean, it's a bit
every
more expensive because you got more work. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
keep giving people something to look at, huh?
Yeah.
Keep the focus. Wow.
That's the thing, because it's like a roller coaster. You always have stuff in front of you that you can focus on, and that gives also the good stereo effect, because you kind of forget, like at the end you're making stereo movies for the effect of stereo,
right?
And not making movies like the movies.
It's an experience thing, isn't it?
So like
the T-Rex and that other one kind of run up at you.
Yeah.
And then you were saying earlier, the rides, like they have all kinds of different stuff going on. Like there's
like if you're doing the animatic and the storyboarding, it's always like we have to choose like water effect, because in the little cinemas there's like water sprays coming at you, like butt kickers, like the seats are going up. Wind effects, even smell. Even smell.
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision. And bubbles. So we always have to incorporate those elements in the movies.
Interesting. Yeah. So you guys do all that, and then someone comes in and
at the end
programs the ride to kind of fit with it, so you can work out like what makes a good ride.
Yep. So there's the guys that make the simulators. They take the movie and they program it.
So do you have an idea of how many ride movies are done every year?
No. That's simple. I don't know.
Enough to keep you busy, at least.
For us, it's like we try to make 2 movies a year. So 6 months is the deadline. But like for now, we made a new movie, the Dino movie. It's finished on 6 months, but we have to do the 2K renders. But that's machine time.
So you work at a lower res initially to get to work out the whole thing.
Yep.
And then
720p, and then if we see that the stereo effect is good, then we do the 2K renders.
All right. Now, do you end up having to do a lot of tweaking to get the stereo effect to work, or you guys have just out of the renders?
No, it's really simple. It's just a camera of Modo, and we make like a mono eye, like one eye, single eye, make one track, and then say, okay, we know the distance between the eyes, what it has to be for in the cinema to work.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we just click on the stereo, separate eyes, and it works.
I guess, because in that case, it's like a ride. You know the audience is a certain distance and that sort of thing. You're not trying to worry about, well, on TV it's going to look like this, and in a big theater and on IMAX. And you can really make something and know how it's going to work out. That's cool. Wow, cool. So you guys are into the next one?
Into the next
busy.
one.
We're glad you were able to kind of get out and see us. Is there anywhere in particular? I mean, you're the expert on ride films, or our best expert on ride films. Where do you go to see? Is it shopping centers, special venue kinds of things?
There are shopping centers that have them. There are like amusement parks. They have a lot of them. Most of the time, dome versions and big ones. But that's it.
What's your favorite one that you guys have done?
For me, the toy car.
The toy car one.
I think that worked out really good. A lot of effects, a lot of turning around with the camera. So I think it's a good effect in the simulator itself.
Oh yeah.
Do you get to experiment them in the simulator?
No, not now.
That's unfortunate.
But it will happen. It will happen.
Surely you need one in the office for testing.
That would be great. That is a good idea. I'll ask my bosses.
Cool. Well. That's pretty cool. Thanks.
I'm sneaking in. A round of applause for Tommy. Wow. I actually remember going on a ride in Disneyland last year, and it was just insane, absolutely insane. So it was good to see that, really, really good to see that. So thank you very much. We are going to take a quick break now to show Double Negative's showreel, and Robin will then be joining us on the couch to talk about how he's been using Modo over there, and he's a long time Modo user, big community person as well, so you're actually going to get to see the face behind the name. Hey! So thanks again, Tommy, and we will be up again shortly after Double Negative showreel. Thank you.
Yeah, come on. So, I guess you could tell us a little bit about what do you do?
What do I do? There's a good question. I'm an environments lead, senior artist. I'm generalist. So what normally happens is I join the show very early on. I do some concept work. Sometimes do some concept work. That leads into modelling, leads into texturing, and then at the end of the show, I'll do lighting and DMP, matte painting. So yeah, that's kind of my skill set.
So a bit of everything.
A bit of everything, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we've known each other for a long time through the forums. We've never got a chance to actually meet in the flesh. So hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you finally. I've seen you do a lot of really amazing things over the years.
Thank you so much.
What are you going to show us tonight?
Well, I've been working on Jupiter Ascending for over last April, I think, so over a year. I was on Wachowski's latest film, which will be out in February. So we have some problems that I can't actually show anything from the film, and I can't really talk about the stuff I worked on. So what I'm going to do is focus on workflows and methodologies that we came up with. Modo was used a huge amount in the show, mainly because the sequence supervisor, Antoine Molyneux, is a big Modo fan. And he knew I used Modo, and he got me on very early. And together we kind of worked out, what I can say is we've got a huge environment. It's about 11 kilometers by 5 kilometers.
Is this in space?
It might be in space.
It's in some space.
Yeah, but it might not be.
Oh, it's really space.
Okay, so it's quite a complex environment, and we had to build a huge amount of assets to fill that. And so the word you'll be hearing a lot tonight is greebles, which, shall I explain greebles?
I think you probably better.
Okay, so kind of old school special effects. If you took the Nostromo out of Alien, the spaceship Nostromo, so you'd have the rough shell of the Nostromo, but it wouldn't look that interesting. So what they used to do, the model makers, they'd get tons and tons of kits, and they'd get little bits, and they were called greebles or nurnies. Nurnies is another word. And they'd cover them in those, and it kind of look interesting and cool.
Right.
And that's the idea.
Break up that
yeah,
flat
it breaks up the flat. Yeah.
So the Death Star is also a good example of greeble.
Death Star's excellent. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So very early on in the project, we worked out that that was the way to go, and that we'd almost kind of do Jenga greebles. So we'd start with very small pieces. We'd make those into interesting smaller composites, and then we'd build on that, and so on and so on. You can see where I'm going to. You've got hopefully quite a large, complex piece, and then we made. Well, I say we. I made about 20, 25 of these large pieces. I'll just show you.
You're going to show us one now.
Well, I'm going to show you some of the stuff I did on Total Recall. So I've been at DNEG for 4.5 years, and I've used Modo the whole time I've been there. And it's growing in popularity. A lot more people using it there at the moment.
That's great.
But yeah, this is just something I did on Total Recall. So it's it's this piece here, which is the landing platform.
Right. Okay.
And also all this as well. So this was kind of concepted and built in 2 days. All this bottom bit. There's a whole section around there. But I was given this task, and this was all built and concepted in Modo. So there's that as well.
That looks really cool.
Yeah.
So so moving on, I knew I didn't really have anything to show tonight. So instead of me waffling on, I thought I'd build a space station.
Excellent.
As you do.
So it is a space station. You just gave the secret.
No, what I'm building is a space station, Gregory.
If one were to build a space station, how would one go about it?
Well, this is right. So, you guys. So, this isn't a space station. This is a refinery I did for Andy Brown, and it's using the greeble technique. So this took about. Andy phoned me up and said, "I'm doing a tutorial. Have you got anything that I can use?" And I said, "Give us an hour or two, and I'll get you something." So this is about an hour or two's work.
But pretty amazing.
But you were, but when you say it, there's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff beforehand that goes into that, which I'll show you. So there's a lot of preparation. So this was the space station kind of thing I came up with. This is early days, work in progress.
That's cool.
And then, so yeah, that's basically what I built, and that took about 2 days from scratch to build texture and light. And it's the same workflow that we used on JA, so Jupiter Ascending. So basically you get a huge amount of presets, built parts, you put those together, you make interesting shape, hopefully interesting and cool shapes out of them. You put those together onto other pieces. There are some bespoke pieces as well, but it's all, and then we got some kind of procedural maps that are just thrown, it's cubic mapping, just thrown on there.
Right. To do all the tiles and...
and the variation texture again. So, which is great, So all the different meshes get a slightly different hue.
Right. You got some lights, like part of the set too.
Yeah, there's some luminescence maps on there, but then also lit the whole thing. And then what we do is we'd bake that all down. So we'd have a RGB, a spec, and a luminescence map. And the whole asset in total, I don't know. I mean, I was using proxies and instances in Modo. I was up to about 80 million with those. So I know we rendered in Houdini, and Antoine made a plugin that took all the points and took those into Houdini and attached all the greebles. Right. So
so took all the instances, converted that into points with transforms essentially.
Yeah.
And send that over to
and we'd baked. So what we did, we baked out, as I say, RGB, luminescence, and spec, and then they were applied on the instances in Houdini, and then we'd do some hero kind of architectural lighting actually in Houdini, but all the generic stuff was baked in Modo. So, so
that's cool. Yeah.
So this is a bit rough. Bit rough. Thank you, sir. Again. So I thought I'd try live to to do some of this
Without
stuff.
a net.
Without a net! Gonna do it! Or not, but hopefully he shall do it. So these are some of the presets.
So this is your Jenga, box of Jenga.
Yeah, so I mean, I've got one for pipes. So you start off with just, you know, a couple of pipe pieces, put those together, you get a bigger piece, so on and so forth.
And I mean, this is quite a massive. You've got sets and sets of stuff.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I guess you accumulate this over time, as you know, as your toolkit in a way. I mean, this is your own toolkit. Yeah, and
even it's like when I was building this particular space station, I made a lot of new bits and pieces, which I haven't had a chance, but they'll go in the preset library as well. And yeah, it's an ongoing. It just builds and builds and builds. It's really good if you're doing concepts and you want to rough stuff out quickly. Cool. As hopefully we will see in a moment. So. I'm going to grab this fella. There we go.
Oh, there goes the pen.
Yeah. So this has already been greebled to a certain degree. So this is all smaller pieces that I put together to make a reasonably interesting shape. The idea is to keep things asymmetrical. Everything's UV'd as I go. Or I try to. There we go. So that's all UV'd. So when we come to the final thing, we can apply individual maps onto these and then bake those down.
Do you spend a lot of time setting up the UVs, or do you just use some?
It takes forever. Yeah, UVing. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a necessary evil. I mean, yes, takes a while.
But you've got it as pieces, so then, like every new model you build, then out of these pieces.
Yeah,
it is UV'd because you've already done it.
Yeah, it becomes easier. So we'll just duplicate this.
Kit workflow.
And we'll chuck that down there. As I was saying, asymmetry is the key because then you can move stuff around and it has a different profile from every view. So you get maximum coverage from all your pieces.
Right, because it needs to look good from every point of view.
Yeah. You never know how things might change around. Huh? Oh, we're going to look at it. We're going to move it around and move the camera a little bit.
I was going to say that on JA, we kind of just needed to get as much because it was such a huge
asset
that cannot be named. So, so I'm just going to merge these down. So, okay, nothing too exciting at the moment, but then we'll apply some. So these are little bits and pieces.
And then, when you're just kind of snapping things right to the surface there too. I was asking earlier, you know, how do you snap it? And Greg kind of made an interesting point
it's
about
actually
that.
what's happening is that when you drop a mesh preset into the 3D viewport, it's firing a ray to find out what's under the mouse. And so if you happen to be over a mesh, it will parent it to the mesh and place it exactly where you hit.
So this feels like it's smart and it's putting it where you wanted to put it.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Most of the time. I mean, there's a little bit of, you know.
Yeah, it can go, I suppose, like anything, it can go wrong, especially with a lot of complexity, but yeah, kind of cool rather than you having to like bring it in and then start trying to snap it or fit it or something.
Yeah, it's like it's sticking it onto the surface, and then when you move the parent surface, everything moves along together. So that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
So who wrote that, Gregory?
I did.
There we go.
Man of many talents.
Kind of, yeah. Thought you might have done. Who did the variation shader as well?
I think I did too.
Yeah. He's a clever guy.
So you're pretty quickly getting a lot of interesting kind of stuff in the
while.
in the frame.
So you're essentially getting paid to draw spaceships.
Yeah,
that's a pretty cool job.
Actually, it's great because I went to art college, right? And I spent 4 years at art college with my tutors going, because I was drawing spaceships all the time, and they're going, "You're never gonna make a living." And then on JA, I actually did design some spaceships for the Wachowskis, and it was just
Send something back to your professors.
Yeah.
I told you.
It was very cool. It was a very cool project to work on. So I think we kind of got enough here. That one will do. So these are all parented underneath, like so. So I'll just group that. Hopefully, I'll group all of those. Sorry. Right, and then I'll instance all of those. And then we'll have a little muck about and see what we come up with.
So it's gribbles within gribbles. Forever.
Greebalization. Not globalization, greebalization. Yeah, so we'll duplicate that one.
Yeah, what you said earlier about the asymmetry, though, that really, like, unless you're really looking to pick things out, there's just so much going on.
Yeah, that,
Your
I mean,
eye
that's
doesn't
the
get
trick,
caught
really,
on,
yeah.
oh, I see 7 copies of the same thing. But now at this point, there's probably 16, 32 of some of them.
I'll do one more, I think. Take that up there. We'll put that in the distance. It's almost like I've got a plan. Yeah, so there's that, and so we'll have a quick look at how it looks.
So at the moment the camera is within...
Not in the right place.
It's not in the right place.
I just got to delete those. Yeah, let's get something a bit prettier to have a look at. So,
Yep, there you go.
yeah.
And then this is the preview render. So this is just doing progressive refinement.
It is
Right
doing
here, but
progressive
yeah.
refinement, yeah. So with global illumination and I mean all the render effects that you.
Yeah. So
that
we'll
you can
just
do
put the
with Modo.
physical sun on. Kind of go to, I don't know, 4 o'clock. It's made a lot of difference. There we go. We'll turn this down. So we're getting this stuff, and we'll add my favourite, which is a little bit of fog.
So tonight's theme is the variation shader
And
and fog.
You can't go wrong with.
Either
Yeah.
of those, yeah. But it helps with the scale, doesn't it? Because it just gives you
Yeah.
that cue that this is a big thing, not a small thing.
Yeah. So, I mean,
It's
for
adding environment.
very little work,
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot off.
And this is on your laptop.
Yeah.
Getting pretty, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's a pretty
so-
quick preview of how this thing is coming together.
So we go early morning, maybe a little bit backlit.
Dawn on the space station.
So yeah, so obviously slightly slower and with a bit more care, you can build the greebles, and then and then you'd originally we were going to randomly, almost like with a replicator, just randomly stick all the greebles over the asset that can't be named. However, yeah, there was no structure to it, so it actually needed some design. So I then went in and I built low-res proxies because there was going to be so much geo, and actually laid it all out with those.
So it really needs to be art-directed, essentially.
Yeah,
To have the control
yeah.
to place them.
Yeah,
hand.
just for kind of really long shots, it works.
Right.
You think, oh yeah, that's cool, and then you get in a bit closer, and you think, well, it is just a mess.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get, almost like canyons and that kind of stuff that you can architecturally light. So yes, so that's that one. I got another thing to show, if that's all right.
Sure,
Yeah?
of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, so this one's kind of was it informed random decisions? So what I mean by that is it's easy to actually show you what I mean by that. So so it's a bit kind of like sketching in some ways. Excuse me, come to the wrong place. And it's using replicators again. So they were used quite a bit, not to
And that's an efficiency, I mean, especially an efficiency thing, the replicators.
It is, yeah, mostly
Yeah.
an efficiency thing. It's creating instances very quickly.
Yes. So it's good to have a little chat in any of your scenes, so you've got some idea
Right,
of scale. Right. And there's our little chat. So, kind of built a tower there, and it's with this replicator, and it's using. So the way this works is we have what I call the source meshes, or the point source, and they range from a simple box. If I just go to polygon mode, they're kind of variations on the simple box. I'll get rid of that one. But that, so after a while you get a feel for what you need. So they're going to be the point sources. And then I've loaded in a huge amount of presets. So there they all go. So what we can do is, if we get this one, just duplicate that and call it 1, and then come up to the replicator, and as our point source we take 1, which gives us this. So let's just have a look at that. Make sure we've got it there. So we can then live kind of see what this gives us.
So you're just making a very simple geometry that controls the placement of all those complex shapes.
Yes.
And then you can play with that.
Yeah, and also those groups of presets can actually, you select a load and then you make a group of them,
Right.
and it will randomly
Pick
place
one,
place
them,
those.
right.
Yeah, so you can make, you know, you make groups of very similar objects, but aren't quite the same, and then very different. So I think this is a group of kind of framework pieces. So let's just go to duplicate, just clone that a few times. So we'll do that a few more. That'll do. So if we get rid of that and come back up to our replicator, and a nice handy tint or even tip for anybody using replicators is that if you middle mouse you can change them. So this is kind of the informed random decision.
So now you can kind of go have a look.
Yeah.
See,
You go,
we'll see what works for you.
Yeah, and you go, whoa.
Right.
So if we run through a lot of the presets.
So using the mouse wheel is really convenient in that regard.
It's great, yeah.
Well, maybe even some of them, like it may not necessarily work, but it probably gives you an idea too. Like, oh, that kind of bubbly shape. Oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll put in some of that.
So you know, you can do that, and then you just duplicate that, and then we can add a different. Let's come right down the bottom. As you see, I've got quite a few.
There is a lot of them.
Walkway is always a good one, actually. So you go, oh, like that. That's cool. Duplicate again. You get the idea. There we go. So you've got a kind of walkway, towery thing. Freeze that, and then you can make a preset out of it. And on you go again.
Then it goes into your. Then it goes into your kit. Yeah.
So that's basically the workflow that we used on JA. Yeah.
Very nice.
And and you've been doing. I mean, even the other stuff you showed us was Total Recall. Like this is a pretty standard way of developing these kind of complex scenes, or
this was
or
the first
using
time
this more and more?
No, I mean I kind of came up. I'm sure other people have come up with it, but I came up with this specifically for Jay. This whole workflow thing was it's like, how can I quickly get interesting complex shapes together? So and this just seemed the best way. Yeah.
Cool.
And I don't know if we've got any time. So I get rid of that, and if I just quickly, you can see that space station that I made. It's quite a big, it's about 7 million polys. Is done sort of in a similar way. There's bespoke pieces, and then there's, here we go. So look here, look there. Gregory's great work. Yeah.
Very nice.
So if I turn off the replicators, these are all the meshes there, and they're instances as well.
Right.
So, but even so, even these pieces. So this hanger is all from preset pieces that I had, and I built the main body of it. But yeah, most of the stuff, these sections as well.
That's true. So yeah, so you can go in and you can hand model some kind of key elements. Yeah. And then build yourself a whole lot.
It's kind of how to make that more interesting.
Make the most of it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really I mean, stretch out the hard work. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes you down really interesting creative paths as well, or can also be a distraction.
You could be playing forever.
Yeah, you have to exercise a little restraint at some point, don't you?
Yeah, at some point you have to go, no, freeze it and get rid of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how we did it. And the lighting, I'd just like to say, I used the March kit plugin. Let me just select this. March. Oh, hang on. Let's come back to main body. I've turned it all off. So it's got this lovely little thing in there. Grab this, which is how I place the lights. So you go in polygon mode, and you just choose some polygons. I won't do too many because it's rather dull.
Watching you click on polygons?
Yes. And then add light to poly. Go point light. And we say 0.8. We'll keep it yellow because why not? And it groups the lights as well.
Oh, so it makes a group automatically?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's pretty handy.
Yep. And then that should be done. If we come over here somewhere.
Yep, I can see them.
Can see something. I think I've got the other lights on as well. But yeah, so there they are. There, the yellow ones. Hang on, it's quite a heavy model. If I turn off all the other ones, yeah. So that's how I place the lights. And also a really cool thing is that you can mirror lights. So you can do one side and then just hit mirror and they're over the other side. Yeah, it's stuff like that, which is very cool. So yes.
I suppose, especially for concept stuff where you're not necessarily, you don't care if it's, you're trying to get a sense of like, is this the shape of the thing? Is this the style of what, what's needed? You're not spending days and days modeling and kind of sculpting and detailing. You can quickly get a sense of like, is this what you're looking for? Is this
you
what we
might
need?
also have bits that kind of fit where you're after, which you can then go back and do properly. But yeah, you can just throw them in and have a little play. So it's cool. Kind of fun. So
but yeah, especially if somebody doesn't know what they want. You know what I mean? Like
that
something
never happens.
I know, yeah, of course not. And you always have plenty of time. But with something like you could quickly get a sense of like, is it this kind of a thing?
Yeah.
And before you've invested weeks in modeling away and really putting a lot of detail
and also
care and
if
everything,
you need
get
to,
that
you
detail.
can do a couple of iterations
and refine it.
And very easily go back.
Do you tend to, like with something like this, if it was for a real film type project, would you then go back through and like pick parts of it that maybe you want to like finish out in more detail or especially, or does it really just depend?
It depends. If it was always kind of in the background, then obviously I'd spend more than 2 days. But with a bit more love and tender loving care, I'd just work on it a bit more. But no, I'd leave it as is, really. And
So can you apply the same concept for other types of environments? Because we've been looking at a spaceship singing, but not,
think so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could do a normal cityscape in a similar sort of way, especially if you want to put kind of fire hydrants and or roof furniture, because you know if you've got those top-down shots of cities, they've got tons of filtration systems on the tops and stuff. So you could you could randomly place
together.
Tons of that kind of stuff, which would give it scale. Yeah, and you could lay the buildings out in a similar way. There's the weight maps and all the P mods that we haven't gone into. So
yeah, you see, you need a little villages or something with the variations. Again, you could, you know, the particles before, but then you build up some little houses that are made out of different bricks and chimneys.
Yeah, you can have a little library
pieces.
again and make a group of that, and it will instantly give you a random selection of houses
That's cool.
and textures. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'd be curious to see that for a medieval town or some.
In case you're looking for something to
Exactly.
I kind of got enough to do, thanks, Gregory.
Well, that's pretty cool. I guess,
Questions
have we got time for questions?
Yes. So, Tommy, please.
Let me slide over. Oh, hold on now.
Guys, gonna get cozy on this couch. Do you want to? Yeah. And I'll sit.
Can you squeeze in?
Between
I'll snuggle up to Gregory.
How many people can we get on a two-seater sofa? Oh, perfect. Okay, Lucy, I'm going to hold you the microphone so you can tell us where people are getting in touch from.
Sorry. It's very friendly here at the Foundry. Okay, so I could do my usual Eurovision countdown, but we've got people on from all over the place. I'm going to name, why not, let's do the country rundown. So, no surprises that there are people here in the UK and in the USA and Canada, Brazil, France, Spain, Belgium, Germany, Poland, Japan, Argentina, Sweden, Mexico, Ukraine, Netherlands, Italy, Russia, Norway, Portugal, Finland, India, the UAE, Hong Kong, Algeria, that's maybe more surprising, hello, Ireland, Ecuador, Bulgaria, Guatemala, Austria, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Pakistan, South Africa, Colombia, and Australia. So hello to everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Everyone's been enjoying the stream. We're just going to say as well that there was a technical problem, real surprise there, the gremlins have been after us, and the DNEG show reel was cut short, so we're going to play you out with that. So don't panic, you'll get to see the end of that. So first of all, let's start with Tommy. I have a question for you, which is how did you reduce the render time with that many replicators?
I didn't. It was just the render times, and I
love your honesty.
I upped the settings to get less noise. So, and it was like 10 minutes. And it was like, okay,
oh, yeah,
that's great.
When we talked earlier, you mentioned something about with being able to control on different different materials, different geometry. I don't know if we mentioned that. Well,
yeah, one trick about controlling the quality, so you can set the shading rate, and I think that's the technique that you used. You can control the shading rate on different surfaces or items.
Yeah, so
so you don't need to have crazy high settings for the entire scene. You can really control that on the per surface.
That's the thing. If you do that, you can control the scene, and the render times stay low. And also with this scene, it was part polygon models and part with the fir trees, so I think that helped a little bit with the first pass and with the loading up of the scene in the renderer. So I think that's the option to go for. Change shaders.
I like the way you say renderer. Good. So that answers another question, which was about renderer settings. For you, so I've probably loud enough to reach you. The next question is, how did you get into creating 3D rides?
I started working in a firm that makes 3D rides, so
Cunning!
What a cunning plan! Did you, I mean, was it straight out of art school into ride films, or how did you?
So what were you doing before?
electrician.
Okay.
Wow! That's how you get into
Wow!
Just learn it after your hours. You have to learn.
Have to learn.
Wow! Amazing.
So no, it's the second firm in Belgium that does 3D rides. So there are not a lot of VFX firms in Belgium, and 2 of them do right, so it's an obvious choice.
And a lot of them are now using Modo.
A lot of them. I think like the 10 best companies in Belgium,
it's
8
really
of
spreading.
them using Modo.
Okay. So another question for you is there a way to have a noise to deform a mesh and maybe animate it?
Say again?
Is there a way to have a noise to deform a mesh and maybe animate it?
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
there is.
I mean, is it a bit like the map you
No,
painted?
I was searching this last week. Damn, how was it? I searched it on Google and I just found it, but it works. It's
just needs to be in VFX.
No, but if you want to deform a mesh, you have to put it in with the deformers. And on the deformer, you can put a noise on it.
Right, yeah.
And then it deforms the mesh.
Exactly.
You can put a noise on the fall off as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's that one. On the fall off, you have to put the noise on the fall off and then it displaces the mesh.
Yeah.
Okay, good answer. And then finally for you, did you have another workflow before you jumped into Modo, or were you always in Modo?
No, before it was Cinema 4D and Maya. So
what made you move?
the company. So nice work.
Oh, okay.
Nice work.
You like us?
No, it was like
We're live.
It was the tool set. It was the workflow.
The thing is, no, because they were working with Lightwave, and Lightwave wasn't an option because working with Lightwave and passes and getting all alphas out, and that was just easier in Modo. So we began switching to Modo, and it worked out. So
Good. Do you miss any of those other things?
no.
Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to Robin. First of all, everyone was pretty impressed, and there are now hashtag Greebles hanging out in the Twitter sphere.
It's the future.
On that subject, is your Greeble/Nerby workflow entirely based on kit bashing and normal mesh replicators, or are you using more random particle replicators as well?
No.
Okay.
It is the first, yeah.
It's the first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that answers.
I do
that.
use the others, but yeah, they're just not so controllable. That's
So-
the main reason.
And people just in generally a bit blown away by your demo, and somebody asking if you use a procedural workflow and custom scripts.
Oh yes. No, it's all done by hand.
Magic.
Yeah. I'm not very clever. so
I think making a space station
making
in
a
2
space-
days.
that's
It's pretty. We were impressed. Shout out to Brad, who I think wrote on Twitter, "Take that, NASA," which I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone unusual picks that one up.
Brad's been picked
It
up by the
wasn't
NSA.
us. Yeah. If Brad's still in the office tomorrow, it'll be good. Another question about what they were quite impressed with the speed on the laptop, and people are asking what were the specs that we were using on our laptop tonight.
Oh gosh.
well, it's mine, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the specs are?
Oh, it's quite
It's a
powerful.
special secret Robin
It's
laptop.
quite powerful. Yeah.
Is it a secret
But it's 3 years old. It's not that powerful, yeah.
So a 3-year-old, not that powerful, special laptop
Yeah.
is the answer.
You're right.
The
on
point,
that.
I guess, the point is, it didn't really matter, did it? Like you
There's
don't
only
know
4
that
gigs
it
around
was a
in
good
there,
machine
so-
a few years ago, and it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Still doing.
Cool.
Okay. So another question is that you mentioned Modo is becoming more and more popular among my voice going today, double negatives artists, which is good to hear. Everybody knows Modo is the best modeler out there. This is not my words, by the way.
Of course not.
But that you're seeing it. Are you seeing it expand into other areas of the visual effects pipeline as well?
Not really, no, not at the moment. So
No one's sniffing around your desk going, "What's that?"
Well,
About what software you use.
yes. On the software side of things, I mean, people are kind of more interested because it's with the Foundry now, so it's giving it certain cash. So, but no, I mean, but it's definitely taking ground. I mean, I've got a little bit of a name check here. Jonathan Opgenhafen, who's the internal art director on Jupiter Settings, a big Modo fan, been using it since quite a while, I think. as I said, Antoine's a huge fan. Maxime Fleury, who was the build supervisor on it, has done a digital tutors piece for it. Yeah, there's more and more.
I guess big. I mean, DNEG is huge, so changes don't necessarily happen instantly because you've got to move it through a lot of people and a lot of
I mean, it still goes. As I said, the way we use ABCs as well. So I had ABC cameras, and I mean, we did manage to do some animation as well, and did a little bit of kind of concept animation on the Hunger Games, and they were all ABC'd out to Maya and Houdini. So and the models they have to go through checks and stuff.
But you're able to connect with everything else.
Oh yeah, yes, no problem. Yeah.
Excellent. So another question: is 10,000 hours in Modo enough to reach your level?
Have you been keeping track?
How many hours have you been in Modo?
I've got no idea. I mean, I've been using it since it first came out. So.
How long is your commute? Yeah.
It's an hour and a half each way.
Yeah. So multiply that by how long?
See, got to do something. Yeah. So.
So that explains the size of your preset library.
Well, I don't want to brag about the size. It's how you use it, Gregory.
That's right. That's
now then.
Moving right along.
Just ignore that one.
It's like, carry on.
And another one, final one for you is, how often are you using Modo's presets on your workflows?
Right. Well, as I say, it depends on the job and the show. On JA, it was a particular workflow that we needed, so I was in Modo for the whole year. Other shows, not so much, but now I've got this workflow kind of under my belt. I do concept work from time to time, so it gets used in the concept work more and more. So.
Great. So I've had a late question in for Tommy. About the moving objects and render, are you using brute force or some kind of GI cache?
Standard settings in Modo.
It's out of the box.
Out of the box. Sorry, nothing special there.
That means everyone can do it. Okay, so that's kind of the end of my questions. Everyone's thoroughly enjoyed the session. They've basically said they'd like to go on for the evening, but I know I cannot stay in this position any longer. My legs have completely gone to sleep. One person said on Twitter tonight, is it true that the main ingredient of Modo is unicorn blood? Gregory, is that true?
It may be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Lips are sealed.
And one other question, which may be for you, Gregory. What is the best workflow for an individual artist from start to finish in Modo?
Oh, it really depends on the job. It's a really tough question.
That's why I've asked.
I really don't know how to answer that.
Okay. Tweet us more details and we'll answer you in more detail back.
Model something, texture it, light it, and render it.
you forgot
there could be some animation in there as well if you want. Maybe some dynamics.
Fantastic. Okay, they're just very excited people. People saying, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." Robin's sci-fi pieces make me all frisky. That's slightly worrying.
Oh, you know.
And
I don't want to know.
there are people working.
There are things we don't want to know.
Yeah, some things we don't want to know.
Who was that?
That was Chris Offner, named and shamed. You've been inside for too long.
It's rather warm if he is.
And then also a shout out to Vong, who's watching Modo on one monitor while working in Modo on the other. It's multitasking. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's basically all from my magic laptop.
You're right there. We're going to have to get a bigger couch, I think. It's like the last session we did.
We got bigger, but it's not enough.
It's just not enough, is it? Okay. All right then. Big round of applause for all 4 boys.
And 2 girls. And all the others.
Also, people who you can't see behind the camera, I want to give a big shout out to Lucia, Ash and Jordan as well. Thank you so much. And Stuart. also, the lovely Emma and Liz have been manning the Twitter feed as well. So if you do watch this on record and you've got questions as well, please do continue to use the hashtag. We'll make sure that the questions get fielded around because we have your email addresses. So that is all for tonight's session. We will be taking a month off from the sessions next month. However, you will have seen we're going to a trade show. We're going to be at SIGGRAPH, and we're actually going to be doing a broadcast live from the booth for 4.5 hours. So that will be on the 13th of August with all the customer presentations and some presentations from the Foundry team as well. Lots and lots of prizes at that one too. So go and check out on the website in the events section for that one. You can click on and watch the stream there. So that's all for tonight. We're going to sign out with Double Negative Showreel. So I'm going to hand that over to Jordan. Good night. Thank you so much. We've had a really good session tonight. I've really enjoyed that. I hope you have. I hope you guys have too at home. You clearly have. Yeah. So we will see you soon somewhere in the world. But next month we'll see you online at SIGGRAPH. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.